what sexual urges. Most people confuse these two words, love and lust. And once you don't get the difference clear, it becomes very difficult to understand what you're feeling, whether what you're feeling is love or what you're feeling is lust. Now, there's a very thin line between love and lust, and I would want it to be clear or made clear to everyone who is on the call today. Lust is simply a hormonal problem. It is just an increase in estrogen for women and an increase in testosterone for men. And as we grow, estrogen is one of the dominating or dominant female hormones, and testosterone is the dominant male hormone. And as we age, from childhood entering into puberty and into adolescence, the male would increase his testosterone level naturally, and then the female would also increase her estrogen levels naturally. It is the estrogen levels that go high that makes the woman have her menses, that makes the woman grow breast, that makes the woman grow hips, and have all the female features. And it's also the increase in the testosterone levels that makes the young man start growing beard, start having a deep voice, and start experiencing some wet dreams at night. And all these, like I'm saying, are hormonal. They are just natural things that happens to everyone. And everybody born by a woman and on this planet Earth would experience this sort of phenomenon. Now, when we are looking at love actually is something that is very, very confusing. And most people tend to look at love as a feeling. And I keep telling people that I counsel that if love were a feeling, then when the feeling is not there, then love is gone. But actually, love goes through a series of stages. It also involves some psychological and some efforts and some actions that you take to develop this sort of what do you call it, love. The first one is attraction, when you become attracted to the person. Now, when you become attracted to the person, there are certain things that the body reacts to, right? Certain things that the body reacts to. Once you start becoming attracted to somebody and the person is not showing similar attraction to you, your stress response go up. When I say your stress response go up, when the person is not around or the person is doing something that you're not comfortable with, you become angry. And once your stress response go up, you increase your cortisol levels. Your cortisol is actually the stress hormones. And that is when young people start, they call it a crush. And then some of them start exhibiting what we call jealousy to some extent. So most of these things would involve the person being so nice because of growing up. You are seeing somebody that is very, very attractive. The person looks like somebody that you dream of being around with, or probably you think this is the right person for you, and then you allow these things to continue. Now, the next thing that happens to a young person who is becoming attracted to somebody is that the dopamine levels go up. Dopamine is the pleasure chemical. It's actually the pleasure chemical that makes you feel high. It's just like when you take cocaine or you take weed or you take some alcohol, the way you feel. Now, when your dopamine levels are high, when you're doing something that is even wrong, the body doesn't prompt you that what you're doing is wrong. You continue to act in a manner that usually will not benefit you, but you do not know that what you're doing will not benefit you. You don't even look at the risk. Just like a young man starts riding a bicycle and he's on a road overtaking 10 cars, he sees himself as a superman, but he doesn't know that the bicycle he's riding, he can fall, or anything can happen and he can kill himself or get it. Dopamine actually does. It actually makes you feel very, very high. So this is the stage. You're talking of attraction, which is adrenaline as a part of it. Symptoms of the adrenaline will be the stress response hormones, the increase in cortisol levels, and then your attitude towards the person, the way you react towards the person. I made mention of jealousy. I made mention of becoming extremely angry when the person is not doing exactly what you want. And I'm also talking about doing things that even when they are wrong, you don't even see. That is when your dopamine levels increase to a certain level. Now, once the person starts getting close to you and starts doing what you expect, what then happens is serotonin gets in. Then you start feeling comfortable, start feeling peace. Now, this is a typical example. Like we are looking at attraction, we are looking at adrenaline, we are looking at dopamine, and we are looking at serotonin coming together. It is the same feeling that people who have temporal mental disorders, forgive my line of, I mean, thinking, but that is it. People who have temporal mental disorders have the same signs and symptoms of young people who say they are in love. The bottom line is they don't know what they are doing. They don't know what they are inviting for themselves. They don't know what they are calling for. So if
Oh, so
you meet us,
so Papa
yes, go
Hamina,
ahead.
what you're
Yeah,
telling us this afternoon is that
yeah.
young people in love are actually mad to an extent.
Young people who say they are in love is actually temporal mental disorder.
Oh, temporal mental
Mental
disorder.
disorder, yes.
Right.
Because you see, as we go on, you understand. When you say you are in love, you are 16-year-old, you are in love. By the time you get to 20, your wishes, desires, and likes will change. And that person that you were so much in love with will become irrelevant to you. You took a permanent decision based on a temporal feeling.
Mm,
That is temporal mental disorder.
right.
Okay, then they move to the next level of the part we call attachment. And then the attachment level will be when they start playing romance, they start kissing, they start hugging, and then they start engaging in sexual activities. And anytime you start engaging in sexual activities, kissing, hugging, and cuddling for a long period of time, you become bonded. You become bonded with a hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bond hormone that bonds babies and their mothers when they are breastfeeding. So you see, when the baby is being breastfed and the baby does something wrong to the mother cannot throw away the baby. When the mother also does something wrong to the baby can never leave the mother. The baby will still go to the mother. The same way, when you become attached to sex, I mean, kissing and hugging and fingering yourselves and having oral sex and all those things, you become bonded. And even when you realize that this person is not the right person for me, it takes a lot of hurt, a lot of effort to be able to move yourself away from this person that you know very well is not right for you.
Mm,
Typical example, this morning, matured woman, she is 35 years. She calls me and tells me she is in a distance relationship and the boyfriend out there is telling her that because of the distance he can't come back. He's having sex with someone else. And I asked the girl or the woman, so if you tell him that because of the distance you're also having sex with someone else here, how is he going to take it?
right. Right.
And then you know what she said? Asemo. That is all. It is because she is bonded by oxytocin, and anytime you get an orgasm through kissing, through sex, through hugging, you become bonded. And the bad part about creation is that women have more oxytocin than men. So the oxytocin levels of women and the bonding rate of women is way, way higher than that of men. That is why most men can sleep with a woman and walk away, and most women, they sleep with a man and they can't walk away because they become bonded.
Okay.
Besides this, there is another hormone in the male brain called
Hmm.
vasopressin or
Papa
vasopressin.
Kamina,
Yeah,
before you move on to the next hormone, so you're
yeah,
telling us that oxytocin,
mm,
the hormone that bonds people to
yeah,
others,
yeah,
is
yeah.
much more in women than in men. Now,
Yes,
before
the
you move
levels are
on,
in, yeah, yeah, yeah.
tell us as women, tell us what to do to minimize this oxytocin levels. It's quite a mouthful, so forgive
Mhm.
me. Tell us what to do to minimize this level of oxytocin in our bodies. Is it possible to begin with? If yes, how?
Okay, it is possible to, to allow the body not to engage. The best way to move yourself away from becoming bonded with a man is, one, it may be a little difficult for most people. Don't hug for too long.
Hmm.
Don't
Hmm.
hug the opposite sex for too long. Don't kiss on the lips. Don't have sex.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You
I
see,
didn't say
it
Papa
sounds
Kamina
very
said.
this general. If we are in a relationship, yes. If there's a relationship and all you are doing is a good evening, good afternoon, and chatting, it's just like brother and sister. That is what most people will say. Now, if you want to move your relationship into hugging, kissing, and all the others, thing more meaningful, which is marriage. If you think you love each other, married. Once you get married, you can do all these things. The bad part of women bonding and breaking the bond is that when you bond before that bond will be broken by the bond. If you bond before the right time to bond, that bond will be broken by the bond. Simply meaning that if you don't take time and you become bond, break a bond by separating. In your next relationship, you can't commit completely like you did the first one. In your next relationship, you can't commit. And as you continue to break that bond, you can't bond anymore. Typical example, pick sellotape, masking tape. You fix on paper, you remove it. The person that you bonded with will still have part of him or herself on your sellotape. You affix on another paper, it will not stick like it did the first one. You peel off. The next one will not bond. The next one will not bond. And at some point, you can never have a bond even when you get married because then you are afraid that you'll be hurt again. You are afraid that the bond will be broken again. And so you are unable to commit even when you get married under these circumstances. That is why most relationships start so well and end so poorly because that person has had several experiences, several examples of hurts, and was unable to deal with it, moved on, moved on, moved on. Now somebody marries her, and then she is unable to bond because she is afraid that once she bonds, it will happen again.
That is quite insightful. Very, very insightful. Okay, so you wanted to tell us about another hormone in men. Um,
Yes,
we're ready for
I
that.
think from that, then we can jump off the science and look at other things. Now,
Certainly.
there's one called vasopressin or vasopressin. Now, it is dominant in men. It is that makes men attracted to women. It is that will push a man to do anything to get a woman in bed. So when a man is driving to, let's say, Kumasi, and he's at Nsawam, and a woman tells him that I need Frankie's ice cream, the man will go and buy it. He will turn around and go and buy it. But once he sleeps with you and his vasopressin levels drop, he won't do it. He will tell you he's already gone past that area. So if you want the man to regularly pursue you, what you need to do is not to give him sex. Because once he gets sex, he has what he wants. And if his vasopressin levels drops, that's the end of the relationship. But if the vasopressin levels rise up, then that's when he's going to write all the checks for you without he even knowing he's writing the checks. But the guarantee that is going to go up or down is not even controlled by the man. It is controlled by his subconscious mind.
Papa
So the man
Kwamena.
himself has no control over it.
Papa Kwamena.
Yes.
Okay, so the obvious question then becomes, what happens after marriage? Is the same level of
You
right
see, the
supposed to be
interesting
talking
thing
about
is
here?
when it happens after marriage, the man is forced to stay in there because he is married to you.
Hmm.
So he would reconscientize himself to stay. But when he is not married,